As part of a larger reform of its decentralized administration, the canton of Bern had to build a new administrative center in Burgdorf. Administrative buildings, a regional jail for 110 prisoners, and a maintenance depot had to be planned. The total investment amounted to 150 million Swiss francs. The cantonal government decided, not only because of financial considerations, to test new ways with this comprehensive project that's important for the canton.
Our financial situation obliged me to look out for alternatives to traditional in-house procurement. The administration, therefore, examined the PPP option. The aptitude test and the economic feasibility study came to a positive conclusion. I therefore made an application to implement the PPP process.
What does PPP mean? PPP stands for Public-Private Partnership and is a cooperation model between public and private partners in order to provide public services. The government contracts a private partner with a task to design, build, finance, and operate a public building based on a clear performance specification. A new feature of the PPP model is that the cooperation includes the operation of the building and thus covers the entire life cycle. The state pays to the private sector a pre-agreed fixed annual fee for all services. After expiry of the contract, the responsibility is transferred back to the government.
In April 2008, the Cantonal Parliament approved the implementation of a PPP process. The project was then tendered internationally. The contract was awarded to Zeughaus PPP AG, a project company specially set up for both its shareholders, construction companies Marti Group of Switzerland and the Dutch Royal BAM Group. The comprehensive contract was signed in November 2009. Thus, the first Swiss PPP project set up according to international standards started. After a construction phase of only around 2 years, the new building will be ready for occupation in April 2012, a remarkable 27 months after signing the contract. 3 challenges of this project deserve special attention.
The life cycle approach is a core element of a PPP project. The Neumatt project is staged for a life cycle of 25 years.
We are expecting significant efficiency gains thanks to the life cycle approach. Needs and costs relevant for the operation can be taken into account from the start. That means even small improvements in construction may have a significant impact on the entire operating period. For example, facade, energy management, cleaning concepts, and so on.
Energiesteuerung, Reinigungskonzepte, etc.
All buildings have been designed according to the best possible energy standard, the MINEGP Eco Standard. We have exclusively used ecological materials and taken construction measures to keep future energy consumption as low as possible, such as using solar panels or heat pumps.
After completion of construction works, the private operator takes the responsibility for managing and operating the buildings. This includes maintenance, cleaning and taking care of the building, as well as the outdoor facilities, running a staff restaurant, and other organizational services.
Since the planning phase, we have been heavily involved in this project and were able to articulate our needs and considerations in order to guarantee the provision of optimal facility management later on. One of the biggest challenges of this project is the 25-year operating period. So we've calculated, as of today, the total cost of operation, maintenance and measures for renewal and replacement. Any cost overruns shall be borne by us. Hence, the canton has succeeded to transfer the risk from the state to the private sector. For a long time, people have talked about life cycle considerations and developed theoretical models. But this project enables us to experience for the first time the necessary change of paradigm, which is needed to operate a building for a long period and in a sustainable way.
Den es braucht, ein Gebäude über lange Zeit nachhaltig zu betreiben.
The Zeughaus PPP AG will be compensated for its services by the canton with an annual fixed user fee.
Thus, transparency and certainty about the strain on the budget is ensured. We know for how much the new building will be accounted for in future budget terms. This is important for me as a deputy who is responsible to the citizens.
After 25 years, the group of buildings will be transferred back to the canton in a clearly defined state. Construction regulations ensure that the canton will be able to use the buildings differently in the future.
We build to the standards of system separation and flexibility of use. For example, the separation walls in the prison do not support load, so they can be moved at any time to ensure the building can be used for other purposes.
Probably the biggest challenge in the Neumatt PPP project was to bring together 19 different cantonal departments with 450 needed jobs in one location. How was it possible to commit these administrative units to a binding order and for a period of 25 years?
In this project, we've included the operational and functional requirements of the users at a very early stage. This enabled them much earlier than usual to influence the architectural design and operational concepts. Our real estate office has coordinated the entire organizational process with all the 19 administrative units and the creation of a set of result-oriented specifications. We've continuously geared these processes to the users. During the competitive tender, we have submitted the offers to the users for review. From the start of the construction, we coordinate all the requirements with the users. This applies in particular to the operational services, such as cleaning times or the postal service. All adaptations are conducted in close cooperation with the users, the real estate office and the PPP partner.
Die Rollen waren teilweise neu und gewöhnungsbedürftig.
The roles were partly new and unfamiliar to us. This required a special project organisation and several discussions to coordinate. In the end, we have all moved in the same direction together with the Canton of Bern and the project sponsor. This is a clear and positive difference to traditional construction projects.
Dies ist ein klarer Unterschied, ein positiver Unterschied zu den klassischen Bauprojekten.
Das war eine sehr anspruchsvolle, aber auch nützliche.
This was a very challenging but useful task. Considerable rethinking was necessary that required substantial energy. But for all partners, it has been a very positive learning experience. We're particularly pleased that shortly before moving in, we did not have to make any changes that would have had an impact on the cost. In the new centre, a prison for 110 prisoners is provided. How does the Neumatt PPP project enable the idea of a private operation that complies with all the legal requirements?
Taking care of prisoners is a classic sovereign function, and in principle it's the state who has to carry out the operation itself. This is due to the state's monopoly on legitimate violence, and it sets clear limits to the delegation of such functions to private companies.
Therefore, tasks have been clearly separated in the project. The private operator is responsible for facility management, which is limited in prisons to building maintenance and housing technology. Any activities and service pertaining to taking care of prisoners are exclusively performed by the public authorities.
Diese Umsetzung ist rechtlich unproblematisch, weil
This implementation is, legally speaking, not problematic, because in this project the private partner is exclusively entrusted with building maintenance and related tasks. It would be more sensitive, according to the Swiss legal conception, if the private partner also performs more extensive supporting services, such as catering, transportation, or genuine security tasks. The Neumatt PPP project in Burgdorf has launched successfully. Considerable economic benefits have been envisioned for the canton of Bern over the entire life cycle.
Die bisher mit PPP gemachten Erfahrungen sind
The experience gained so far with PPP is good. I would like to see more PPP projects in order to verify this promising approach as a solution in practice. The closing balance, however, can only be drawn up after 25 years.
von 20 Jahren gezogen werden.